He's smiling, he's spinning away from his wife.
It's hard to hear.
It is hard. It's echoing. The lights are like.
Worse on Zoom.
We turn the hair.
You can hear the people, but you can't hear the people in the audience. There needs to be something.
So we're happy to have you here in person. I really just like, I know who you are now.
To say this is my very first official meeting in a town hall meeting.
You're gonna love
In
it.
my
This is
63 years, I have never been to a town meeting.
in your 53 years.
63.
Really?
I've never been to a town meeting. Well, here I am. I'm ready to roll.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. 7 o'clock. Approve minutes, May 4th, 2023, Selectmen's meeting in May 11th, 2023. It's special Selectmen's meeting. I approve, you guys read them over, I approve that we. I second that. Approve these. This special meeting? Yeah. In favor?
No, you can't speak up yet.
Not yet, we're ready.
There's an open
We have
session in the middle when you,
You can't say it so we can all hear what you're saying.
Oh, we're approving the minutes from the last meeting.
My husband is out, yeah. So he needs to.
well, he's also sitting in the front row. No, we don't need it. We don't need it. This is,
Just
this
us.
is internal for the select board. Did you picked up a copy of the agenda?
With an agenda at the
Do you
beginning.
have the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, so you can follow along. The first, you know, a lot of this stuff is just for you to listen into. When we get down to open session, then we'll say, does anybody have anything for open session? And then you're welcome to
Share.
bring something up. One of the things about open session, though, it's for information, not for decisions. So we're not gonna make a decision about something at that time.
Yeah, good. You do good. Okay, approve warrant 22 and payroll warrants, May 10, 2023 and May 17th, 2023. I make a motion that we approve these warrants. I second that. All in favor?
I haven't had a chance to review that, so
Okay.
I'm going to understand. Even though I undoubtedly will agree.
Did you sign them, you two?
Yeah, I did.
Imagine they did.
Yeah, I did.
Not check.
She's waiting for the checks.
Oh, I did sign. Oh, lovely client. Do you want to sign that?
Who's on there tonight besides Tim?
Hello,
Hello.
good evening, everybody.
Thanks for coming. Nancy, when you coming back? So.
I'm on the agenda.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. RSU report.
All in favor of these?
You already approved those.
Okay. Reports, RSU 10 report.
Yes, I'll say just a little. There's I watched the last meeting. There's an informational meeting next Monday night at Buckfield High School at 6:30. It's the usual annual informational meeting about the budget. That's next Monday night at 6:30 at Buckfield High School. And I've been watching the school board meetings, and I believe we're going to find that the budget will change hardly any from last year. It might go up a tad, it might even go down a tad, but I think you're going to find that the school budget will be almost, for Hartford, almost identical to last year. And of course, they'll be sending out the annual mailing about that very soon, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you. Good.
Thanks, Richard.
Road report. Mr. Pine Shores.
Read the road report. You want to read it? The road report? I can. This is from the road commissioner. We will be meeting with Jeff Stearns on June 1st to plan for hazard mitigation grants. He is with Andrews Club and River Watershed Council, I think it is. FEMA will be in town on May 26th to inspect damage from the December 23rd, 2022 storm. Roads have been temporarily repaired from the latest storm until FEMA declares the storm a disaster area and agrees to help the town with costs. A small amount of work will be done on the gravel roads to keep them smooth until we get into our new budget.
Bam.
Sincerely, submitted by the road commissioner. Thank you. Do we have a report? Any other reports to look at? Well, there's this complaint, if anybody could actually read that. I can't read that. You know, I think that,
I can read it.
you can read that?
Yeah.
Okay. Great, well, please.
Well, we have a complaint here from Karen Henderson, Pine Shores. She wrote, I would
Homeowners Association.
to discuss having the town consider paying the cost to repair damage to the private road in the
I'm sure Homeowners
Yep,
Association.
okay. The gutter on the town road street, the corner of Pine Shores and Lakeview Drive was plugged and caused a river crossed the road coming out on the private road. The water washed out a section of the private road near the dumpster. This washout was due to a plug culvert on the town road. The estimated repair cost is $30,000. Karen Henderson, President, Pine Shores Association.
Homeowners Association.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that she did apply to emergency management.
Oh, she
pay
did?
for the
Okay, good.
disaster, so that may cover this, and BIM said that the storm created the clogged culvert because, washing. and
Yep,
everything.
yep. Sure,
If
yep.
it's in the rain.
Good, that would be good.
Because, we have, we also have something from you on,
Well, Kathy and I went down and looked at it. I think you did too, Lee, right?
I did, I took a
So all
drive
three of
down
us
there.
went down.
It's pretty significant and, my heart goes out to the folks that live down there that have to deal with this and also to, the guy who lives right across from it, who is planning to put his house on the market. I mean, it's a disaster if you want to put your house on the market and now the road in front of your house is half collapsed. And it doesn't do much for your valuation. I mean, you can understand that this is a serious issue that has to be addressed.
Kathy,
Yeah,
I just have a question about that culvert, because we lived on Pine Shore, the first house going in the Melendez house. That culvert, the previous owners to the lot beside us used to run a hose and other things through that culvert to their family lot that was across the street. Was there anything in that that could have caused a clog up of, if there was not, that stuff was not removed? I knew they had like they used to use a water hose and stuff going through there.
to get water access to the other lot.
To be,
We had so
Because
much
they were
rain
taking
and so many leaves and stuff. It just, as soon as that rain came down. I mean,
Yeah.
there were
Yeah.
so many culverts that clogged. Mother Nature just moved it.
Because leaves and debris and stuff like that plugged culverts all over
branches,
town. And it's not just all over town, it is all over the state.
they,
Where I commute every day, there are places, and the state hasn't touched it. They've got places where there's holes this deep next to people's driveways where the culverts just plugged right up, and the state hasn't been invited to do a damn thing. I'm kind of stunned that maybe they're still waiting for a disaster declaration.
No worries. They're working from home still, so it's all good.
Oh, for crying out loud.
You correctly that the washout was by the dumpster for Pine Shores on Lake.
Yeah,
Drive.
you know where Dave
On the
Bowen
private
lives?
road where Dave
Where-
Bowen's
Between
house is.
the dumpster and Dave Bowen's house, pretty much.
Yes, well-
And the side of the road, there's a,
So where do they think Northwest on town property of that, because uphill from that.
you know the weird culvert I'm talking about, that kitty corner culvert. I'm sure you know, because you lived in Melindy's.
we lived on.
by the intersection.
Yeah, they think it was that culvert that caused the,
Corner of Pine Shore and Lake.
We looked at it. I don't- Yeah,
it kind of feels, it does feel like a stretch.
Somewhat, then it'll be done.
It-
Okay.
Raise your hand and put in a time.
Yeah, but no, it sounds like a bit of a stretch to me too.
Yeah.
When I went down there, I thought, oh my God, this is.
But it weighs.
Damage,
Horrible.
but and water travels, and it certainly traveled during that storm. So, but let's keep our fingers
Can't
crossed
prove
for
nothing.
disaster declaration, and let's not hold our breaths since FEMA's coming next week, is it, to check out the December
Mhm.
right.
last
Last year's
storm?
storm.
January,
At least they're right there to help when you need it the most, right?
that's it on the roads.
Okay. I think so.
Constable report, nothing, good.
Do we have something on here? No, I guess I wanna just ask you, because I'm looking through it back and I'm not sure I can find her. I'm looking for, it. Didn't you have a copy, wasn't there a copy of the email you got from? I mean, it's an MMA email, or maybe.
That's an executive session at the end of the night, because that's legal
Okay,
advice.
yeah, okay.
Okay. Nothing on the constable. CEO,
Better open it.
nothing. ACO, nothing. Planning board report. Nope. Ordinance committee. Nope. Fire warden report.
I do have a sidebar
Nope.
comment about fire warden report. It is awesome on Facebook to see the summer fire stuff every week
Yeah,
to
it is.
say, this is the fire warning, or this is what it looks like right now, and It's very helpful because it's regional for me.
Well, right, and one of the issues is somewhere has a fire department.
No, I'm just saying,
Not
it's cool
anymore.
to see that.
They're shut
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, or had a
But
fire
whatever the
department.
case, it is nice to see that out there because we're regional and we know that what they're experiencing, we've got, so.
Okay, treasure report, bank reconciliations, April.
I think it's great. 93%, is that normal? Is that good?
93%.
People are doing very well.
On what?
So 93% of the taxes
Oh.
that are due right now have been collected.
We have almost
And so I didn't know where
all
that stood compared to previous years, because I don't have previous years.
There have been years that weren't this great.
93% seemed really high.
It's very good.
Good job.
Ooh, Hmm.
I need to accept that, or we all good?
You've been,
Well, we have.
Just need to initial that you-
We're still looking on.
Oh,
A certain amount of boring business to be taken care of here.
Northeast Bank will be signing a proposal. They want our checking account and sweep. And they're offering a pretty good interest rate from what he told me over the phone.
really,
but the.
So they're not gonna
place-
send a person, they're just gonna send a.
They sent a person already. They just have to write up a proposal, try to win us over.
But how would we bank there when the closest one is like South Paris?
I've been going there anyway.
You go to South Paris.
You go to South Paris?
Well,
anyway?
because we have
Or
some,
Auburn?
well, because we have our CDs
Okay.
are all there.
But they do offer a career service. I don't know. if there's any charge.
You, why would they charge for that? Imagine. I mean,
You're getting money.
charges for just about everything. So. How can you imagine why there are outstanding checks from 21 and 22?
Excuse me, I have a question. Is there a reason the town doesn't check out credit unions? There's one right in Turner. If the banks charge for everything, maybe that's a solution.
It's not a bad suggestion.
I don't know what their rates are, but
Well, I can tell you right now, I've been some happy since I've been with the credit union.
I've dealt with them for 40 years.
Beats the pants off Northeast Bank.
You can look into it, Lenny.
I'm very
Just a thought, I love being with a credit union. They do have business accounts.
What's that, Leanne?
I'm very happy with Androscoggin, and I'm hoping they'll meet Northeast interest rate.
They might, they
that's-
want us.
That's kind of what I'm hoping will happen, because I was, when we moved our sweep account and checking to Androscoggin, they actually came and talked to the select board and get a chance, I won't say get to know them, but
They drop by every once in a while.
Yeah, but they were very personable and they had us convinced pretty well, and my feeling is it's gone really well. So,
Just FYI, the credit union will do that as well.
Yeah, Lakefront Association uses Otis, by the way.
that might be it, yeah.
Oh, there's federal credit union over in Jay.
That might be it, yeah.
Up there, Spring Rockets doing these stores, then you can see what mine's doing.
I'm telling you.
Thank you.
See, we've sold 70 beach stickers so far.
What is a protested check? I know what a bounce check is. What's a protested check?
Brian saying that.
And, there's a. Date of name remittance reimbursed protested check.
That was a bounce check that was for excise tax of the state. The state dealt with it because I didn't get a.
The
receipt.
state covered the town got
They-
burnt, the state covered it.
No, they dealt with it. They required the person to pay or their registration would be,
No,
Yeah, yeah,
so they found it. And then
That
they
would
pay
do
the
it.
state.
yeah.
and
I
the
should
state
think.
does.
Nice. Okay,
Win-win.
I was just wondering, because I don't ever remember the term protested check. But I think I do remember hearing about this, did we? You to look at?
Read this.
Somebody has got.
Do they? All right, good. No, they all got copies. Okay, cemetery committee report.
Yeah, I'd like to report that we completed the brush, removal from the banking, we're ready for them to come and pick up all the brush at Hartford Center. And we're having a workshop there this Saturday, starting at 8 o'clock. And we're gonna be picking up all the stones and straightening some out and cleaning some marble stone. At the front of the cemetery. I guess the other thing I wanted to ask or let you know, from my observations, I went to Thompson Cemetery. I didn't see a spring cleanup happen there. There's a lot of pine branches down everywhere at Thompson. So I don't think we've got a spring cleanup done. I'm concerned it won't be done before Memorial. And Sue and Kathy usually put veterans flags on. Did you want help with that this year, or do you want to do it? You just let
Not
me
too
know.
bad.
We can help with that if you want to split it up somehow.
Yep,
Sounds like a good plan.
I
yep.
got time next week too. I blocked out a few hours, Kathy.
What's that?
I said, I got time next week.
Yeah,
During the week,
I
blocked
can
out some
too.
hours.
Just holler.
Okay.
I spoke with Robin today to see if she could ask
Robin, who,
Farah,
okay,
to see if she could ask Ricky when he can meet with us up there. And she said she would ask him, but I guess he's been talking, I guess Ramsey's back from California now. And I guess he has mentioned it to her a little bit. And he said she might donate us a little bit up there.
That would be nice.
So that'd be good if she could, would.
Yeah, and work something out if we can pinpoint the back posts,
you're talking about in Hartford Center.
in Hartford Center. So that we can cut the big pines that are, one of them's falling over on the stone. I'm hoping that if we can reach an agreement, we can cut all the big pines around. And take that one off from the stone.
So maybe she could meet us down there Saturday.
That would be great, because I think we need wood yet coming in from Jersey Hill.
I didn't know whether she was here or not yet, but Robin said she was, so
Yeah,
that's good.
so I've got like 3 volunteers coming. This girl from Buckfield is supposed to come, is interested in helping. Keith and Walter are coming, so we should have about 8 of us there.
Kathy, I could do 5 Saturday morning. Breakfast, the plans canceled if you want to do some.
Yeah,
Let's do tomorrow.
I don't think I got anything going.
You can check in with these guys and then.
Yeah, we'll be there at 8 Saturday.
Okay. Man,
Did you decide who's going to do the inspection of the cemeteries, or are you gonna do that at the time of the, okay.
While you're planting the cemetery.
flags.
for-
Mhm. Calendar reminders, town office closed Monday, May 29th, 2023. RSU 10 budget vote, May 31st, 2023 at 6:30 at Mountain Valley High School.
Didn't Richard say it was at Buckfield?
No,
a
that's
hearing.
a hearing, so, an informational meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
And unfortunately, we just set a meeting for that exact time, Monday at 6:30.
yeah,
Yes, they have that informational meeting every year. And they go over the budget.
Right, I usually don't skip it.
Yeah, we can do something different with her later, I guess.
Not.
Signed everything. Pass it on and stuff. She's gonna leave by 8. Man. Great, well, let's move right on. Unfinished business. ATV road use. Go ahead.
We would love to put it in the request that allow us to use all of the own roads for ATV use. 25-mile-an-hour posted and actually documented with signs for connecting trails, via Canton, Sumner, Buckfield. I'd like to try to coordinate with those towns.
Are they doing it now?
Pardon me?
Is Buckfield and Canton doing it?
Exactly sure. I know Roxbury and Byron have been doing it for 10 years now, and they've never had any incidents whatsoever. But yes.
Lee?
I believe it's for her to ask me,
Go ahead.
not you. But, but thanks. In any case, I just wanted to mention that it can't have been, okay. I don't know how many years ago it was because I lost the pandemic years too. So it was before the pandemic happened. that, 19, okay, right before the pandemic happened. In 19, we opened a stretch of road between the end of essentially the end of the trail by Pine Shore. It would come out right behind Melindy's house, right? And go on to Church Street, and we opened that section of Church Street so that folks coming from there could actually make it to Canton Trails. Yeah.
I was living in Mechanic Falls when we opened those roads. I was on their budget committee and the community outreach committee. It was set for 25 miles an hour, except for downtown where there were businesses, it was 15. You had to ride on the with traffic, nothing after nighttime on a public road whatsoever. And that included right downtown is Route 121 and 11, and those are state roads, but there's a form to fill out, which I've done all the research. on what forms, what the signage has to look like. If we were to do this, it is not 24-hour access. It's not supposed to be nighttime. It's dawn to dusk. It's dawn to dusk, yes. And then dusk to dawn, those roads are closed. It's not for that.
And how exactly do you enforce closure of those roads?
It's a state, actually a state
mean,
law. I
So is the speed limit going right by here and they
I
do,
understand. I'm dictating
65.
exactly what.
I
what's
know,
going
but
on
I'm,
there. Okay.
but I'm just saying.
So, I have done some research on some other towns, on what they have for ATV, like this sign says shared ATV route. This is Gorham, New Hampshire. This is Berlin, and they've got this universal ATV sign that goes all along the road. Mechanic Falls, Rangeley, Kingfield all uses this sign, which is a state of Maine approved sign. Some people like Mechanic Falls, Bog Hooters, they made this sign. Poland's got some approved roads, and this is the sign they use. Some of them have bought the sign, some have made the signs and laminate them. They would like them on posts, but it's not mandated. You can put them on trees, but most of the posts are nearer the road. People are required when they do ride to ride with traffic. And there's a form to fill out and to notify the state if we decide to do that. I've also printed the main ATV trail signage guidelines, and it talks about shared route, and there's a shared route sign that we can get for free right from the state that says that this is a shared route road. Just because it's shared for everybody. It says bicyclists, ATVs, horseback riding. It just shows that we are
For the horses who don't mind the ATVs.
and the cars that don't mind the bicyclists. So this whole report from the state is we would have to fill out the form that they have. There are regular ATV rules, which is anyone under 18 has to have a helmet. Anyone under 16 has to have parental guidance. They cannot be out riding on their own. Anyone 10 to 15 has to have a ATV certified course and carry that card with them. Anyone under 10 is not supposed to be driving an ATV whatsoever.
Kathleen, you got a question?
Well, I just want to say, we live on a town farm and there's, I don't know if it's just one ATV or if it's two, but because there's no legal being able to go down the road, they're flying down at 50 miles an hour because they want to get from A to B without getting caught. So they're gonna go faster.
Getting caught by who?
Access, and it's 25 miles an hour on that road. Then
You think they'd actually, do you think that they would slow down
I
there?
think so. I think they're trying
So,
to.
who are they trying to not get caught by?
I don't.
Sure.
Caught,
Yeah.
sure.
When was the last time
But
you
they
saw a
don't know
sheriff?
that. They don't know
You
that.
never know when there's gonna be something just follows.
Or the neighbor's gonna call and say they're screaming down, coming down the road.
It should be a police officer, is what I'm. You've got a nuisance rider, we'll monitor.
Hmm.
Ken,
I don't want to know, you asked for town roads, that include like 140, that's a state.
no,
road.
that's state.
So that would not.
It does include
No.
140.
You can get permission, like,
We can cross it. We could cross it from.
I'd like to be able to ride down it so I can get to trails, but I can't, I don't have access to trails where I am. So I have to cut my own.
I don't know about
It
that.
includes all
Snowmobiles.
roads within your town, including state roads. There's a form you have to fill out that notifies that the town. Look at downtown Rangeley, Kingfield, Mechanic Falls, those are all state highways. Route 11, Route 121, Route 4 in Rangeley. And they've closed theirs before and then reopened it 2 years later because they had some nuisance out of state people that were screaming down there. They closed it. And once they closed it.
Tell you what.
Anybody-
So
nobody
and people
questions
started,
those
you know, self-policing but it includes all roads in the town. If you choose that, you can direct and say this road, yes, and this road, no. You can put access route beginning and end if there's only a section. Now Mechanic Falls, and Poland does trailhead to trailhead. Now, we don't have a lot of trails through town, it's mostly ITS 89. But, like in Mechanic Falls, you've got one trail up on North Street, and then you've got to meander through town to get to the one that crosses the bridge that goes over towards Poland, the old railroad bed. But they're required to go there 25, or else they're gonna lose town access.
Steve,
2005, me, Lynn, Jeremy, a bunch of us all around what brand new Village. And we can go all the way to Radio,
Mhm.
but people, you know, sort of property, not necessarily us, but when people, there's other people's property. They didn't listen. I got pulled over cops before because I didn't want to take the trail home. I said, why should I go 2 miles when I can go 200 feet from my house? I got to call the cops because I want to get home. I just rode over here, so.
Right now, they can go 500 feet from wherever they are to a trail.
Yeah.
If it's more than 500 feet, which every place in in Hartford is more than
I
500.
mean, you guys didn't have that. I'm saying Hartford didn't have that. 2005, people tried it. Everybody tried it, you know?
okay, Richard, you got something?
Well, just in view of all,
You're breaking
I
up.
think we should be very limited in how much we allow ATVs to use the road. What's that?
No, I'm just saying
We're
it
just
first.
asking for more accidents, I'm afraid.
Aren't there plenty of trails in Hartford?
Who is speaking?
I guess my comment I wanted to make is the trails, you have to go beyond the 500 feet that you're allowed to go from road to road. And that's where I've been pulled over by a game warden at my camp because it was 600 feet. You know, to get to the trail from the end of my camp road, to get out onto a state road. And they turned me around, so they gave me a warning. So you're allowed 500 feet. It would be nice to be able to go 1,000 feet or whatever it is from the-
That you're the sort of person that has the kind of spatial integrity that you can know what 500 feet actually is.
Right, well, you don't argue with game wardens.
Well, no doubt, but still,
Uh,
can you measure
Okay.
500 feet just by guestimation? I couldn't.
Monitor activity of ATVs.
Yeah. I gotta go down to Mahoney Road, straight down through in order to access the trail on Church Street. It's the only way I can do it.
Mhm.
Because there's no access on this side for ATV trail on the Bear Pond side.
So I guess my comment is you always can rescind it if you feel people are abusing.
You know, no,
They still,
I hear what everybody's saying.
they still go up and down 140, yeah.
I mean, I hear what everybody's saying, but I can tell you right now that in my neighborhood, what a nuisance. I mean, I had somebody come through just this past weekend and, just as soon as he got into the dooryard, he goosed it and I said, I live in kind of peaceful neighborhood. It's not.
Whether this is passed or not, they're still gonna do it.
Who knows?
Because they did it without permission last weekend.
Always.
You're pretty close to the Working Pond Road, which goes to the Black Mountain Road, which is ATV accessible from the sun. The bridge is out.
The bridge is out.
And they, from there, they can get right up to Shag Pond Road to the Pumpkin Pond Road. And then they got that.
Yeah, but that's not where they're going because they turn around and come back.
Yeah.
You know, they can get out, but there is a bridge out, so in fact, it's not clear through, unless of course you go out to the Fields Hill Road, which would be like pretty much trespassing on private property, which doesn't slow them down much from what I've noticed.
Is this just a discussion thing or?
I would say so.
Well,
I think
I mean,
we should
I mean,
try it, follow the rules, get the
I mean,
policy in
I
place.
can see that you've done a lot of homework and you're ready to rock on this. I feel like, I feel like I'd want to, I don't think I'm ready to decide on it myself. No, I think I'd wanna,
Look at what,
I think I'd wanna have a little more information myself. I mean, oh, you've got all the information about how to make it happen, but I wouldn't mind having, I wouldn't mind consulting a little bit on, what other towns have done. Yes?
Is there a hearing required or anything to adopt it? No?
No, there was not, just one form to fill out.
Kathleen?
Well, I just think that, if the town's people want it, I don't think one or two people should decide for everything. I mean, people want it.
So I see
I
poor,
posted on Facebook, the town meeting, and that's the first thing people brought up was ATVs, they want it. They want it.
and still we're talking about a handful of people. Because there's only a handful of people who actually managed to plug in.
I gotta raise my hand every time we just speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
People go back and forth.
Mhm.
Well, I just think because she doesn't like it, because her neighbors are doing it and she's offended by it, doesn't mean that other people just,
Excuse me, I have my hand up.
It's.
I'm not in favor of it, which wouldn't surprise anybody. But it seems to me that we need more of a representation than the people of Hartford Facebook page. Maybe it's something you could bring up at town meeting.
Hey, we need a public hearing.
Yeah,
Whether it's required or not, just because a public hearing isn't required doesn't mean it's not common sense to. Make a public notice and ask what people think.
One or two people that ruin it for others. Why is it always the one people that ruin everything for everybody else and you gotta just shut it down? I know the older generation don't like it. I'm getting to be that older generation, but you know what? I love doing it.
My
Older
thing,
generation just doesn't wanna just let go, just.
Go ahead.
Is there any way we can put this to accountability?
well, that's what I'm talking about. The first step, this is what we did about the railroad bed, when we had some conflict about the railroad bed, was we had a hearing so that people could actually come in and talk about it, and in fact, a lot of people showed up. And a lot of
The
people
town
came.
meeting is already really long, we're gonna add more to that.
Well,
agenda.
no, the warrant has already been published, so no, we're not adding anything to this year's town meeting, I mean, we're not, it's not, it could be a town meeting vote or it could be not, but,
It doesn't have to be.
we've had public hearings on the subject of the beach.
Go ahead.
Can you like approve for a trial period of 2 weeks or 4 weeks before the.
For the summer and see how it goes.
Just for a trial short period, see how it goes. So we get.
Yeah, can we do that? Try it.
Try it for this, for the, you gotta try more than a few weeks because no one's gonna hear about it until all of a sudden it's already over. But if we did it for the summer and see how it goes and people know that they're on watch.
I believe it's up to the selectmen. I don't think it's a town.
Yeah, it's
meeting
not.
Decision.
Yeah.
No, it isn't, but on the other hand, do we use Facebook to determine what the whole town thinks? Or
No.
do you put a public notice saying this is a decision we're thinking about making? What do you think? I mean, it's just fun.
If you do it for a trial period, people, if it's gonna bother, it will bother and they'll hear from. Right.
I think it's the minority who want this. There's an assumption here that the minority doesn't, but you don't know that unless you have a hearing.
I think that's my point, is that you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so, and my personal feeling is chances are the majority of people in town would just soon see the roads open to ATVs. I suspect that's the case. On the other hand, you don't know what you don't know. And, in order for me to represent the whole town, rather than saying, yeah, I think we should take the time to find out what the townspeople really think. We can't put it to this year's town meeting. Town meeting is too soon now. We would have had to have,
But we don't need to because the select board makes the decision. We could certainly do a public meeting and find out the feedback for those. They will come if they,
oh, yes, they will.
it means that they could have access.
A good possibility, which is always heartening.
Why should we have to?
I'm
Why
sure it
should
would
we
be
have to
a minority of the population, but it would be a majority of the people that are riding and registering four-wheelers. And I think more people would register their four-wheelers if they thought they had more road access. I can't move my four-wheeler off my property. I don't have a trailer big enough.
Mhm.
So I use that as farm equipment, and if I'm going somewhere, I come and register.
Now, to make it part of the place for it.
Right.
Very simple. And we're gonna coexist with Canton, Buckfield, Sumner. We're gonna interconnect, we're gonna be able to go to commerce. Builders market, whatever.
Doesn't mean you can ride down 140 to go to Tilton's Market.
No.
I dare say not.
No, and that's Buckfield. that's
But you,
not us.
but you could get to the railroad
Railroad
bed, and it's
tracks,
not that
yes.
far.
Yes.
Assuming Buckfield allows you to drive
Yes,
it
you
down,
can
which I,
get rail track down there, yeah.
Like the campground in the Anvil, they petitioned the state, Route 5 goes right by there into the little town of Anvil.
Yep.
Everybody wanted to go and gas up and stuff, and they got permission from the state. You probably know better than I.
Right, we just, it's a form we have to fill out, yeah.
But they did that, and then they tried to get it with Roxbury, and just go down 120 to, the Naughty Moose restaurant, and they wouldn't allow it. Because they had to wait to get through the woods, so they didn't want them on 120, which is, you know.
They didn't have to be, right?
State road, right? But Byron, from Goose Canyon and get to the Venus Road, they had to petition the state and they got Route 17, more than 500 feet.
Yeah.
But you can connect, which is there, so it's possible to get it.
okay, so,
Right.
so I have another question, and I'm gonna address this to you since you've done so much research on the subject of signs. How much would all this signage cost? How many signs would we need?
Roxbury actually bought.
No, it's-
Yes, of course it's
Street sign.
With a post.
Those fibers side by side, everybody's seeing it before you.
I think it's all.
Everything has to be a registered vehicle. You just have to follow all the rules and.
You can't bring a golf cart down. The state will take money.
And
You might want to think about the roads and how the speed limits and where it would be safe. I don't know if it would be safe on 219.
But we get to pick, that's what's so great, is that the town gets to pick which roads we want to try, which roads we don't want to try, which ones we want to do shared access. If, like Church Street, you've got trails off of there. So if you allow Mahoney Road and Berry Road to get down there, then you have access to the roads. I don't need to drive down 219 all the way down to downtown Hartford. There's a trail you can access. So if you set up and realize where the trailheads are.
you want to do that?
I will pull up and see
Figure out the roads. that
and
can
figure out
be-
the trail system where people could access. I think that if we tie a public meeting to the, not the first select board in June, second one, which will give me a chance, because ATV clubs are just opening up, so they're not gonna be, they're all volunteers. But I'd love to be able to see how other people did it, whether it was successful, what they learned, so we don't have to relearn. And I mean, I requested information 2 weeks ago, and I'm just now, I just sent other information out going, okay, look, my meeting's coming, let's go, I need this information.
Leanne,
We do have our regular public hearing on June 8th. Maybe you could
fit that in.
extend that, include it. Maybe it would bring more people.
Yeah.
Can you,
I will do my best to get everything together
Figure it
for
out.
June 8th.
okay,
That's a Thursday.
I have that listed as shoreline amendment hearing, but it's the everything hearing.
It's budget hearing, surely, and everything.
Meet the candidates.
I think might be a good idea, just have it then.
Although as far as meeting the candidates, I mean, they're the same candidates we had before, so I don't know to what extent we need to meet candidates, but.
I give you time
You see
enough,
another
so
one?
you think?
You see another one? You know, you find one and then there's another and then.
Horrible.
Oh.
I'm polishing the Hartford News as we meet.
Right.
So are you adding something to the June 8th?
That's what it sounds,
Yep,
Yes, and how should I word it?
public hearing on,
There's already a public hearing June 8th
yes,
on amendments and things. So what do I add?
Sue,
ATV road access?
yeah, Sue is gonna
do the research.
do the research on what trails go to, what roads go to what trails.
Okay, so for the Hartford News, just add ATV road access.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you.
so you think June 8th, give you time?
I'm gonna do my best, yeah.
Okay. We've got that cleared up. Okay, open session.
Pull the forms, they're very easy to fill out. We have to send some pictures along too of our signage and.
Mhm.
So by the time of the 8th, you'll know how many signs we need and how much that's gonna set us back.
We're gonna work on it together, so it won't be so hard on you.
We're coordinating with local clubs where their
Yep.
access points are, and we'll do most of the revenue.
Okay.
Because Kingston's already dragged, the snowmobile club dragged out the four-wheeler trail.
Leanne.
Can you make a motion about that hearing, so it's official?
I move that we hold a hearing on the subject of ATV, opening roads to ATV use. At the same time as the, shoreline zoning and ordinance amendments hearing on June 8th, 2023.
Kathleen, do you have a question?
Was there a second?
I second it.
Kathy second.
All in favor?
I'm just gonna put it in my calendar.
Yeah.
Totally.
I was having some difficulty finding when meetings were and stuff like that. I didn't have your lead on at the time. I want to see if I can get some people together and maybe raise some money to get a sign outside the town office that would say planning board meeting, selectmen meeting, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I contacted a.
Town of Sumner has that.
I contacted Northern Signs, I can't even remember where they're located, but this is something, what I was thinking. It would have at least 4 lines of text that you could write on. It's about $17,000 to $18,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, I would object to one of these little signs. We used to have a public supper here once a month with Lee, or not? We more or less stopped doing that because of the pandemic.
Yeah,
And it just,
well, yeah.
and it just hasn't had enough, there's not been anybody here.
And, you know, some seats that has dinner and music and, you know.
You know, it wasn't usually music, it was just a potluck dinner where people got together, but it was a lot of fun.
Years ago, when Buckfield was putting in their welcome to Buckfield sign and whatever, I helped Glenn Holmes find funds for that. That was a long time ago.
That was my
But
thing, is
I have no idea if there are any regarding community resource grants.
Signs said that there were grants for the pandemic, so I don't know if there's anything still left on the whole COVID
And
thing.
you know, we don't have to go for the full $18,000 sign.
Right.
We could still have a sign, I mean. The one in Buckfield's got, you know, the letters they put up.
That's right.
It's maybe a pain in the ass to change it from
To
time to
stop
time.
it.
but
He's
It's a step in the right direction.
If I could couple people together. I'd love to
Yeah,
try to
awesome.
face that.
I'd love to help. I've got an ATV project and we're working on it, so I'm busy till after June.
So you're working with him, so I can get you to help me.
So sorry.
Okay, Richard.
June 8th, maybe.
Richard, you have a question?
Yes, I do, when I get a chance to ask it. I'm asking this question because it might make a difference as to how it's handled. The culvert over by Pine Shores. Are we saying that that was plugged before the storm? Or was that storm so heavy that it washed a bunch of brush and stuff in and plugged culvert during the storm?
That's what we suspect happened, but I don't know that anybody was actually
Well, wouldn't
hanging
that
out
make a
looking at
difference?
the culvert before that.
Wouldn't that make a difference as to how it's handled with the money that BIM's looking for and so forth?
Yes. Yes, I
Oh,
think,
that's why I'm asking the question.
And how would anybody be able to find that out?
Well,
we don't know for sure.
BIM might have an opinion as to whether or not that culvert was plugged prior to the storm.
Well, we're
Maybe it
shooting
does.
for the rain, all that rain.
So am I correct?
Well, that's what I'm guessing, and it might make a difference as to how it's handled financially.
And that's what we're shooting for.
Thank you.
Anything else in open session? What?
So my question is, and I guess it was done at a couple of meetings ago, junkyards, okay? My question, how many permits, junkyard permits are there and of them are current and up to date? And the ones that aren't up to date, why aren't they? And why, if they're still have junk yard property, why aren't they paying their $50 or their $250 that's owed to the town? And can we backdate those? If they're still junkyards, they should be backdated to as far back as they go that they haven't paid. And update to the town. I've got a neighbor and I feel bad. A neighbor that has a junkyard next door to her, within 300 feet of her well, that can cause health issues. And do you realize if that gets in the groundwater, hello, that's traveling down towards the town office, it's traveling, the aquifer is probably bringing it uphill to our farm. But that's a health issue, and why aren't we concerned about our neighbors, and why do we have junkyards that are not being watched over? Are these vehicles all without all their fluids, their brake fluids, that, you know? I mean, is anybody checking these vehicles to make sure they've been drained? Do they have a cement pad? That was brought up in 2000.
Does have a cement pad.
Yes, he does.
Why aren't each vehicle that goes into that lot being checked to see if the fluids are being released? That woman has not had the well checks, had it put in 2014. The junkyard went in, I guess, I don't know when, but we've got a child that has some learning disabilities, and when our groundwater gets contaminated, it can cause cancer, it can cause learning disabilities. That's our health.
Just shut this up, we'll go into executive session.
I'm concerned for her child. He goes to school with my grandson. I think that as selectmen, you need to check that property. It is more than one, obviously, more than one, but the one I'm talking about is on town farm.
Okay, we did have problems with him a little while ago.
But why
He
is
had-
he getting his permit reinstated when he has never followed the original guidelines?
Okay, we asked him earlier, his permit run out. And before we let him renew his permit, he had 3 or 4 pieces of equipment down by that neighbors.
And it's still there. It's still there. You told her you'd have it removed. And she
I
she
think,
told me the other day, it's
wasn't
still
it
there.
removed?
Oh, no, it was removed.
It
You
was
put down there.
removed.
Those pieces were
We're not
removed.
pretty good. With the skidders, with no trucks.
That's what she's talking about, so she didn't realize that, but.
Okay, but we was told
The buses and stuff.
that
removed.
anything that run and didn't have broken windshields was all right to park. up above there. He's got a little,
Register, registry.
anything that,
Registered in
anything that is runnable can be parked up
talking
there
about-
where.
You're talking about skidders, and I know
It
you,
has to be
who you're
like
talking
farm
about.
Equipment.
farm
so it can't be a
equipment,
bunch of cars.
Farm equipment, skidders, logging equipment, et cetera, et cetera.
My
Is
other
that what you're
question
talking about?
in regards to that is, okay, he's filling out one of your.
Logs.
Your permit applications, why are the abutting landowners not notified? Why, how could he have gotten that initial junkyard permit without that neighbor knowing? She didn't know that he had a 5-year permit until it came up for him to renew it for another 5 years.
So I know that letters did go out of here, when he was renewing, because people came in here and said they got a letter.
We contacted the butters.
Right,
I thought so.
so, I do know that we send out some letters regarding his other sites that seem to be accumulating equipment. I have pictures of those sites, and Kathy and I went, made sure he was following his logs, and we went by one of the sites on Lower Town Farm Road, and he removed a 6 or 7 pieces of equipment that were right out front, so we were very pleased. He might have moved it to Turner. They probably came from Turner in the first place, but very happy that they were not there. But he still has a modular there, and
Do we have a, because I looked online and I found all kinds of ordinances, but I didn't see one for a junkyard ordinance.
we don't need one. The
We
state's
don't
got
have
one.
a state, we do not have a town.
So you're supposed to legally go by at least the lowest standard of what the state allows.
Correct,
You can go
and that's why he was
doing
filling out log and doing what he's supposed to be now.
Here,
But
and
these,
you-
but they, but
and you
not
take
just
that.
him. These people, their permits are expired.
Right.
And why they expired? We're paying a code enforcement officer and you want to give him a raise of $2.50 an hour and he's not even doing his job.
Enforcement officers up there.
But he's not doing his job. Health, that's my main concern is people's health. Why do we allow that junkyard to be so close to her well water? Would you allow that in your home?
So there are state regulations on how far away the junkyard has to be. And vehicles have to be to a well, and we did the measurement for the one up here on Town Farm Road. And he moved the vehicles away from, I forgot what the lady's name is. Jones Well.
Once the groundwater gets contaminated, there's no sucking that shit right out of the ground. Once it's there, it's there. It's contaminated out of the water. You are talking about the future of our children and grandchildren. If you're allowing us to have dumps
But
right
he,
in town.
when we went out, he had his fluids all separated.
He doesn't even own the property.
Yes, we know that.
And you get notarized from the owner of the property that she is actually agreeing to this?
She has to sign off on it, correct, on the permit.
Are you sure it's her that's signing it, not somebody else? Have you verified that it's her that signed it?
Is it notarized?
That's what I'm asking.
I have no idea.
Who's to say?
Land.
I know that she gets the notice.
Come out and say, hey, here you go. That's her signature, well, yeah. How do you know?
Well, it doesn't,
If she
it
doesn't
goes,
come in with you,
hold on. Hold on, the form goes to her. It's mailed to her, she has to agree to allow that on there.
Matter of fact, we just mailed
We were-
them, didn't we?
What's
Yes,
that?
we did.
We just mailed
do
them.
not see it as an issue that this gentleman who does not live in our town is gonna contaminate our town. And he has a girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, who knows, who, Joe Schmo, whoever can buy his property for him why is that? Why is he bringing loan in up to that land up there? What is he burying up there? What is he
I
doing?
don't know what property you're talking about that she's bringing home to,
Next to Brenda.
right next to.
Years,
Brenda told me she's been bringing loan, been sending messages.
well, we have to go out and check it out, I guess.
Because we were just out there and there was no
Mm,
loan when we were out there, the week before last.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know something, I think, I don't think there's any question that he bears more watching than.
Mhm.
Well, and that's why we went out there, and that's why we checked the other piece of property where he got certified letters saying that we are watching you and that equipment needs to go. We are not giving you another junkyard permit for those other sites.
So does he have any current permits right now?
He does.
Just his current one next to Brenda. Right
Why
there,
did he get that removed?
because he met the
He's
requirements.
in compliance. Has anybody gone out there and verified that all of those vehicles that are up there have been drained? Has anybody verified that? Not by
No.
what he says.
No. We saw the containers full of fluids that he's
That doesn't-
required to have.
That doesn't verify that he's drained all the cars. That just says he's got some fluid there. Has anybody verified? How many vehicles are out there? Do you know how many vehicles?
We can do that. We can go up and ask him to drain, see if there's any kind of drainage.
Check on some business.
Brendan got close to 700. I don't know how.
Oh, no,
When
no.
he purchased the property, or his girlfriend or
He was that
ex-wife or
money.
his sister's brother's mother's daughter that purchased it. There was already equipment on that property, so when he purchased it, it had equipment on it. So whatever was there beforehand, I'm not sure,
Does not give you
but we
permission.
now are. I just started last June. I went through all the state requirements and I said, where's his log? Where's his this? Now, when he came in and signed for his permit, he also signed a separate piece of paper that talked about separate contract. That Leanne and I were there for, and the code enforcement that said, we will get a log, you will submit this monthly. This is, and the log says when he's being
On
drained.
top of that, that was another case where there was in fact a public hearing.
We will admit, years and
There was a
years
public
ago,
hearing.
He was swearing there.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, he was so badly behaved, but
Yeah.
he
Try going up
was
there
upset
and asking,
because he was
And
already,
you can by rights.
he was already just
State law says it's selectmen can go on
He-
that property
he was
without his permission.
already
You
did.
just can't go in this building.
we have been,
He was already delayed. And by the time he had his public
we had
hearing,
been.
and he was quite pissed off, and man, we held him up for months.
We did.
We held him up for months, making him jump through the hoops we could.
We will admit probably, I don't know how many years ago, he did get away with not being checked out for this and that.
Not following the state.
But now we're stepping on his toes. And he's not liking it.
No, that's the
No,
first
he's
thing he
not.
said. He goes, why are you picking on me on those other properties? I go, we're not giving you another permit. And those properties better be meeting the requirements for not a junkyard. And when we went, Kathy and I went down there, like I said, I had pictures from before, at least 7 big vehicles missing from Lower Town Farm. That were all parked out front, that now are all gone.
There's a lot more there though, but you know, some people are afraid of him.
Oh, absolutely, it's
yeah.
very intimidating.
No, I mean, he
intimidates her.
He go about and render her dog outside.
Yeah, Brenda's called me and told me all about him, and I've discussed that.
He did what?
So,
Ran into a dog?
She was walking a dog and he drove out at Brenda and her dog.
so, and so we need to understand that at the very same time, as Scott, the CEO, was here too, at town office, he's saying that she attacked his son, when he drove by. So I made it very clear that we're not gonna tolerate this junior high behavior. So, and I told him that was not acceptable.
Ken.
So unless we catch him doing it.
He's had his new licensed junkyard permit for about 3 months, and he's required to get the logbook to the town. office
That's my
every
understanding
30
is that
days.
he's.
Yeah.
And if he isn't in compliance with that, you can.
He would lose his job, he would lose his permit immediately.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Has he complied with that?
That's my understanding.
We have it, yes, and the roads were posted, so he didn't, like, the first month, he couldn't move anything anyway. But he has been moving stuff, and they're all listed on the
Whether
log.
he uses it or not, he needs to report it to the town every 30 days.
And he asked us that, he goes, what if I didn't move any cars? I go, then submit a log that says no cars were received this month. But he had been moving cars, Brenda called and told me, we went up and talked to him. His log report was turned in and it's got the cars on it that were being hauled in there.
Okay, hold on a minute, there's someone here. Lenny, you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to say that, he's not the only one with excess vehicles and dangers around town by far. Just the one who's become visible. Also, I share the concern about groundwater. I also am concerned about air quality with ATVs and snowmobiles running around and motorbikes. And I hope that people think about that as well. And noise.
Your vehicles are all up to par on that air pollution stuff. You're talking ancient stuff, probably with the air pollution. So
Seems like people worry about stuff that doesn't affect their interests.
vehicles, because by the state of Maine, he's supposed to give
The
you
log is,
the titles to this,
Yep,
yeah,
when he drained the fluids.
it's all on that log.
Then you're gonna, somebody's gonna like.
Rick,
and we are keeping an eye on him.
it's no fun to do it, but we don't want to.
Verify, he's gonna get a raise, he's gonna earn it. Get him up there once a month and verify what he's putting in there. And for the future, I mean.
It's 18 numbers, Kathy and I went up together.
Today, let's go from today forward. and
Yeah,
make
I don't
it
think
comfortable.
I don't think anybody's keen to look there by themselves.
Yeah.
And then there are junk cars as well that are not eligible to be junk yards. There's, for one, right on the corner, Lewis and Pottle over here. How many cars do they have in that yard that are not being used? He stores his stuff in the cars. That groundwater right there, guess what? It's coming right down here to the town office. Why are you allowing that?
Yeah, they're only supposed to be, what, 3 unregistered vehicles?
Free. But the other thing is this nuisance law, you should, really put fences up, make it so it's like nice to look at, instead of having to look. I mean, you got the guy right here on 140 that's got more traffic outside the fence than he's probably got inside the fence. Why is that allowed? And then you're gonna complain, somebody complained last meeting about Brenda Burmeister having that chair on front of her property.
Who said
Really?
that?
Somebody at the last meeting, when I was on the move, if I would have known that it was Brenda until I went on. Brenda, somebody's complaining because Brenda's got a chair out there. I'm like, with the traction on the main freaking
Who's
road
Brenda?
here. Somebody's complaining about that chair.
Access Harlow's place.
Really?
Two families being affected the most.
Right, I know where Joan lives.
Yeah.
You have seen on Facebook that we put in, what we put in this committee pass, which was that we've asked people not to put their huge piles out until 2 weeks before bulky waste, and again, it's not picked up, that they're supposed to remove within a week.
It's your right, so you can't complain about her if you're not gonna deal with it. Somebody at this meeting.
And what I want to know is, since I don't remember it's somebody saying her name or saying what
No,
road
they
it
didn't
is
say
on.
me.
No,
They said it was
well,
a chair on Town Farm Road.
on Town Farm, because I didn't hear what it was Town
No,
Farm,
they said-
because there's one on 140 as well.
And if you had the
You know?
recorded meetings, you'd be able to look it up.
You will.
So here's my thing about miscellaneous nuisances, and one of them is, any places where one or more old, discarded, worn out, or junk motor vehicles and defined in mirror are gathered together, kept deposited or allowed to accumulate in such manner or in such location or situation, either within or without the limits of any highway as to be unsightly, distracting, detracting from the natural scenery or injurious to the comfort and happiness of individuals and the public, and injurious to property rights are public nuisances. We have a lot of them here in town. Why are we not trying to make Hartford a nice little community that looks pleasant and nice? And if we need to help these neighbors clean up their mess, let's do it. Let's help them. If they're unable to do it themselves,
What?
volunteers, let's do it. Let's beautify our town. Why not?
I was gonna say, the guy that lives, not the one by the fence there you're talking about, but the one across the road in the cemetery. He come to see me, I don't know, here a week or so ago, asking if his, asking if his grandchild could work for the food bank. So I told him, I says, I don't have nothing to do with that. Contact Polly or Bill Glass and some nurses, they could tell you whether or not she could. And then he told me, he says, I'm starting to clean up a little bit. He says down there in the yard. I go, well, it's good.
Not
because-"
so you notice, but.
I said, yeah, I can notice. I really.
Okay, yeah.
I says, well, that's good because we're gonna start clamping down a little bit. But he is, well, he's not in the best of health. He can hardly walk. No. And they told me he had some stuff last year out beside the road, bulky waste. And they didn't take it.
How can they tell us? Well,
I know, but I gotta go down and tell him he's gotta sort the stuff out, the metal here and the plastic here. Or the wood here. You know, it might help him out a little bit.
And they're not gonna take a lot of construction debris. You throw
Right.
down a shed, they're not gonna take that.
Oh, if anybody tears down.
Go ahead.
Right,
It's the pre-sale that's here, the pre-sale.
yeah, it's
So-
on June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
So how does that work? If I've got stuff,
June 2nd is a Friday, and you can bring stuff down on the
I
Friday.
bring it, what do I do with it?
Just bring it in and there will
Dump
be
it.
people here to greet you and say, yeah, don't bring junk, bring stuff that somebody might want.
You don't
you know.
even know how much stuff.
Well, and so have we all, and that's the whole thing, because I actually spent some time at the swap shop. I have a shift at the swap shop in Sumner Buckfield, because I feel so strongly that things really should be reused, and they have saved as much as 44 tons in a given year of, money doesn't go to the town, what it is avoided costs. 44 tons, that's a hell of a lot of stuff that gets moved. It's clothing, it's books, it's shoes, it's appliances, it's toys, it's puzzles, it's games, it's you name it. Just this past week, a fellow was cleaning out and he had all these military hats, like fancy military hats. Oh man, those things flew out of there so fast because collectors come in. So in any case, we don't have that in our town because we don't have a transfer station, but what we can have is one day a year when people can actually bring the stuff that somebody else might want. It was incredibly popular and successful last year, which is why it's become an annual event.
So is the Friday the full yard sale, who is that a drop off day?
Let's say, why don't you ask Lenny, can you speak to this?
Yard sale.
Yes,
She's-
I couldn't hear the question.
Okay, the question is, could you tell a little bit about how this free sale is supposed to work? Is it that people bring stuff on the Friday and then Saturday and Sunday are, it's really a Saturday sale, but Sunday is the overflow day because there's always plenty of extra stuff, and volunteers are needed for this too.
You pretty much summarized it. I advertised it on the Hartford Facebook page, the Four Town Facebook page, and the People of Hartford Facebook page. And asking for volunteers. It is correct. Friday night, 4 to 7, things can be dropped off. Contact can be made if that doesn't work.
And you can drop stuff off on Saturday, as long as you come early, don't plan to bring stuff late in the day when people aren't
Right.
shopping.
Right.
Because the
So
shop, you don't want to drop off stuff after the shoppers have gone.
we open at 9 a.m. on Saturday, no early birds. You can line up outside if you want.
Droppers off.
And we have everything displayed. You
was-
take what you need, and if you come early, like Lee said, you can leave stuff early Friday. I'll be there by 8 o'clock.
Early Saturday, all the
Yes,
time.
early Saturday, right. And then on Sunday, we'll be cleaning up, but if there's leftover stuff, people are welcome to come look at it.
And take
You
it.
just, you won't get the cream of the crop, but there may be some stuff.
Oh, there's always.
Last year, we so reduced the waste stream. I have a short bed pickup truck, and everything that was left, I put in my truck and covered it with a tonneau cover and took it to Goodwill. That's
And
all
of course,
that
all the clothing goes in the AI bins.
Yes, that's
And
right,
all the
Lee.
clothing, so clothing and shoes goes over there and, so stuff gets moved. No,
We really did not have much left. It was wonderful, a wonderful turnout.
Tuesday,
they
I
did run it
didn't-
extra day. She said, didn't you run it on the Tuesday? But you did run it over an extra day anyway.
Yes, we did. We asked to be there on a Tuesday, but we're gonna
However,
be
there's a-
there Sunday.
Right.
We're not,
yeah,
we're not gonna do
we're
an
not
overflow
the
day.
Monday and the Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that voting day or is this the week ahead of it? In any case, but
Because of going to 8th is the,
right. But in any case, so it's actually scheduled this year, so that since bulky waste day is on the 15th, so that people can take things that they want to move along ahead of bulky waste, so that we don't have so many things that are valuable in bulky waste, and probably won't have as many people cruising the town and picking over people's piles.
Which is a nightmare for Archie's.
It could be, yeah. Anyway.
Okay,
can
as
we move
far as,
on?
as
Can we
far
move
as the
on?
junkyard thing, Sue and I will go up and we will investigate him out a little more.
But this is not decision. Remember, it's not decision.
bringing something in, maybe.
Okay.
Right.
Tell her.
the whole deal will be periodic, some stuff I'm keep reading. We're trying to get jump started.
We'll put it on the next agenda. How's that sound?
I don't think she was listening to you.
We're gonna put it on the next agenda.
Your topic,
Yes.
most towns offer people 3 minutes to speak in open session, and this has gone on for quite a while. And it's obviously a burning issue for you. So I had suggested we should put it on our next agenda. If it's an agenda item, then you've got some real standing to say what you want and have some discussion on it. Also, if it's an agenda item, it can be, a decision can be made, whereas we don't make decisions on stuff in open session. Open session is informational, not decisional. Right?
Okay, okay. Go on to new business. Budget request, Lake and Augusta Clerk Association, 2023-2024, Tim Kerwin.
Yeah, good evening, folks. As you probably know, I sent a letter a few days ago now, making the annual request for funding.
Right,
I'm sorry.
we did receive that.
Okay, so it was a request for $500. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have submitted it earlier and we forgot. So it fell through the cracks, but we're hoping we can find a way to get that taken care of. It's specifically earmarked, as you may remember, for Tom Hamilton's equipment that's used to actually test the lake and test the water twice a month. And we're accruing these monies to buy the necessary equipment replacements. So it's an important component of the annual activities that we do. So that request is, I guess, pending for your approval.
It is pending for our approval, but of course, you do understand, we also have a note here from the town clerk, and I think he might have sent this, she might have sent this to you too, but basically with the town of Hartford, budget request deadline has always been December 31st of a given year. And as you know, the budget has been prepared. Several budget meetings and board meetings were held to discuss each item. The warrant has been approved and posted, and the town report is at the printer. And she says, I believe that since I never received a request from the Lake Association until Saturday, May 13th, 2023, that no action should be taken. A request was also received by Safe Voices on May 6th, 2023, and I called to let them know that the request would not be included in the warrant since they missed the deadline. If another request is received in the next week, do we place that on the board agenda also? We have to abide by deadlines and stick to them. And I guess I'd have to say that personally, I have to agree with that. I'm sorry, it did seem odd, and we even said, nothing from the Lake Association this year. That's really weird. And I'm sorry that somebody didn't contact you and say, hey, you guys, what up? But, you know, I'm afraid, you know, it's not always within our purview to chase after people, asking them if we can give them some money. They need to ask us.
Okay, well,
If that
I
makes-
understand the protocol. I just was hoping that there might be some flexibility and or
You
other
know, I'm so sorry, Tim, honest to God.
other sources.
I guess I sort of remember you saying something like, oh, no, we don't have a request this year. And maybe I am just, you know, I'm hallucinating that and it didn't really happen. But I sort of remember something about that. And so we just let it slide.
Okay, well, that's your decision.
You know, I don't know what, you know, honestly, I don't know what else we can do about it. You know, we can't put it on the agenda now, the town meeting agenda now, because town meeting is, you know, it's coming, you know, the deadline for that is coming gone. The town report is already at the printer.
Yep, no, I understand. Okay,
Sorry.
Just don't let it happen again, man. Let us know early.
Okay,
Okay, what's next?
employee evaluation date.
Oh, yeah. July.
You know me, I'm free anytime.
I mean, I'm assuming we're gonna be talking about July because that's when that's the first part of the year, so, usually what we do is we meet early for one of our select board meetings. And, you know, we usually, you know, schedule a couple of, you know, how many employees we review. I don't know. I would like to think actually, I mean, sometimes we have like 15 minutes per person, and that's probably not quite enough. No. So I guess what I'd like to suggest is that we meet an hour early and maybe for a couple of minutes.
Are we gonna do this every month?
What?
We're gonna do this every month?
Once a
Yeah.
year, whether they need it or not.
Employee evaluation, June 23rd.
My phone number, she can call.
Thank you, ladies.
That we had.
Take care now. Was it fun?
Yes, it was. Okay. I enjoyed it. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Well, you better be a number, so she wouldn't hurt me.
For,
I have an idea. You were probably having a bad day.
when I'm passionate about something, I go down the hole and I apologize. Like,
I hear you.
Do you like that with you?
he knows.
Oh, I bet he does.
So Thursday, July 6th is our first meeting in July. And then we have one on Thursday, the 20th. Thursday, July 6th is the week of the 4th. I am going to be probably taking some vacation. time
Well, yeah,
sometime.
and well, you ought to. I guess I'm gonna suggest that we, you know, it doesn't have to happen immediately in July. July.
20th.
Yeah, I see
We
that.
could
the
do
6th
like
and the
2.
20th. We could do a couple on the 20th, and you know, we could meet another Thursday. I mean, Thursdays, generally speaking, I mean, I'm willing to blow Thursday.
Yeah.
Most anytime. So, and I think that, you know, a lot of our employees may have other jobs that they work at, so they can't probably do early. And of course, I'm gonna be working, I will be working every day until, I mean, I don't know. May go through some schedule changing here pretty quick, but we'd only need.
So what day? I got, I'm gonna write it in the calendar here.
July 20th.
July
6
20th.
o'clock.
Should we say July 13th and the 20th and just try and schedule everybody in?
Well, I just, we already have 2 Thursdays tied up. And
And
July is a vacation month to tie up
It's
every
true.
week with meetings. Doesn't make,
Oh, honey.
July
we
20th,
have months that we have
I've been
meetings
doing
every
this-
single week. I haven't been doing it.
20 years.
Yeah.
Fewer meetings I have to attend.
So like the 20th and then August 3rd, we could do another 2 people or 3 people and
Yeah, okay. That's fine. So August 20th. Okay, so I'm gonna change this, I'm gonna edit this particular select board meeting.
June 20th, I mean,
we'll
July
see you Saturday
20th.
morning.
Should we call it 6 o'clock then?
KOC, Ken,
Nobody backed out. So I'll be up and Kathy and I are probably gonna do some flagging that morning too.
Okay.
July,
You know, some of that next week.
Okay.
When I think of flagging, I think of flowing traffic.
see you, Ken. What time?
6:10, say hi.
6 o'clock for me. Shall we say 6 o'clock for these meetings?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, man. I already hate this, but that's okay.
Okay, they wrote that in, yeah.
Oh, man. No, we just, I'm so sorry about that school board meeting because we just made a date with somebody for the exact same time. The school board informational.
Yeah.
Can you go to that? 6:30?
I'm thinking I'm gonna try, yeah.
Okay,
I would like you to.
This one,
confirm
Buckfield, right?
Because the 2 of us are we're gonna tag team on a GA and that tag team would actually work together on GA.
So I'll send a message up. Richard's still there. I'll probably go to the Buckfield one on it's Monday, right?
Yeah, Nancy Weed is, Lenny is,
Jessica
Jessica
Brooks.
Brooks. And Cody is undoubtedly Natasha.
Mhm. Okay, fee schedule hearing, date.
So. This needs to be a separate date from the evening when we're holding all of the pre-town meeting hearings. Plus the ATV on the roads hearing.
Do we have to do it before town meeting?
No,
Yes?
no, I don't believe so.
Good,
Let's just not,
right.
let's just not. And of course, we've got our employee interviews, and so when exactly are we gonna hold a public hearing? It doesn't have to be on a Thursday night. It'll be a different night of the week. Wednesday is the only day that I don't work in Fayette. But it doesn't necessarily give me any more slack.
No, because you're trying to get all your other stuff done that day. I know, that's what my Saturdays look like.
Oh, my God. I've actually become sensitized. People say, well, what about Saturday? I'm like, oh.
Look, I got. Okay,
You just want to stop off?
what do I breathe?
Can I have a morning that I don't have to rush off? Everybody else my age is retired. Oh. It's all good. I love my work. Okay, so do we decide when we're gonna do this? Will we do this on a Wednesday night?
How about,
We should certainly do it on a night when Leanne is around. And so
that's a Wednesday, because she works Wednesday,
Ah.
right?
she does, excuse me.
So what about July 19th? It's a Wednesday.
Oh. You know what, you know? I don't have anything else going on that night, so. Man. Oh. Ordinance committee is supposed to be that night. Who knows if we still have a working ordinance committee at that point? We're gonna have to come up with a list of ordinances we want them to work on.
About Tuesday, the 18th then.
Tuesday.
Oh, that's right,
Wednesday,
she doesn't work. We're trying to work when Leanne's got one.
That's what we're thinking about.
What if we did a public hearing at 6. From 6 to 7 for the fee schedule, and then the ordinance committee can meet at 7.
On the 18th,
On the 19th.
19th.
You think that we can have a public meeting on this, public hearing on this, that doesn't go into overtime?
Doubt it.
Do you really think so?
Are we really changing a lot of the fee schedule?
Oh, all we have to change is the beach, and that's gonna be plenty to fill the room. I could be mistaken, but I think that'll be enough to fill the room.
Mhm.
So no, we're not changing much. It's changing enough. Yeah.
Public
this-
hearing
this
the
is really
8th.
The only thing that's really being changed.
Public hearing the 8th. June.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, but
ATV.
we're doing shoreline zoning, we're doing the.
Meet the candidate.
Ordinance, there's no candidates to meet that we don't really know.
Kathy needs to do a big speech, right?
No, I don't.
And
Yeah,
Vim
probably.
too.
Yeah, that ain't happening. Them will speak up, but only when something's twisted his tail. And you gotta know it, and then he'll speak up. Guaranteed. But, we're not gonna have this at the same time. We have enough hearing as it is, especially with the ATV thing, because that's gonna pack along too. More than likely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got the shoreline zoning. ATVs.
Isn't there like a trash ordinance or something? As well?
Mhm. It's gonna
No, so
Don't
that's
go
gonna,
overtime.
that's gonna be a big enough night. That's gonna be a big enough night. We're not gonna do it on the same night. This doesn't have to be done until after the first part of the year, I don't believe.
Well, then let's just
Just
table
for
it
the
and
next-
pick the date, the next meeting.
What, for the fee schedule?
Yes,
It's kind of wishy-washy of us, but we guess we can have, sure, table it, let's
when
go.
Leanne's here too, because she'll have,
Let's go. Come on, guys.
Okay. RSU 10 warrant, June 13, 2023.
Okay, so that's when we have to, that's when, isn't that right? It's June 13th is the vote up at the high school. Isn't that right, Richard? I know you're still there.
Election.
oh, I thought the review was this coming Monday, no?
Review?
Budget review.
No, it's an informational, explaining the budget. You have the superintendent there and the school board there, and they will explain to you why the budget is what it is.
I didn't note down when the budget meeting over in Rumford is scheduled for. I should have, I'm sorry. All I know is the informational meeting this coming Monday. I wish I'd written it down, but I
But
didn't, and
the warrant is for June 13th, and that's gonna be, actually, June 13th is is voting day, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so, yeah, second Tuesday. So I don't know that there's anything we have to do around that, though we don't have anything signed or anything like that, I don't believe, so.
So
I
this
think that's
coming
just
Monday,
nice.
the 22nd, Buckfield High School at what time?
6:30.
6:30.
6, just a minute, 6:30.
Yeah, I think they're almost always at 6:30.
Yeah, that's at 6:30. I don't know when the budget approval meeting over in Rumford is. I wish I had written it down and I didn't think to. Sorry. You can look it up under RSU 10 and then go to their webpage. It'll show you.
I'm going to that one.
Well, thanks for that.
Because you guys are going to the other.
Yes. We have a GA meeting with one.
General assistance. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's with me first. And they're gonna come in and give it. And we're happen, you guys. But by not, but the next week, we would have somebody else who got this.
Right.
Okay, we have to sign.
Are we going into executive session? with Zoom?
Not yet.
Then we're gonna shut Zoom off.
What do we have to sign? Isn't this our? Oh, okay. Why is this related to that? That's something else. How many times do we have to sign this? A whole bunch?
When they have.
No, it's actually only this. There's
till the end of the month.
there's all this other stuff.
Stop.
Oh, okay, so we need to sign, no. We only need to sign this part out, right? I have no idea why that stuff is mixed in, but that's it. Those ones need to be put together because they're all on the same topic. There you go. Oh. Once we have done this, you need to call us into executive session and and tell everybody thank you for joining us. Been wonderful to have you.
Okay, everybody, we're going into executive session right now, so we have to leave you guys. And thanks for coming. Okay,
Okay, so now you need to say, call into executive session and you just read this part here. Pursuant, call an executive session for pursuant to MRSA.
You're gonna.
Section 1, chapter 13, section 4056E, legal advice around the roads.
Kathy, did you end?
And also,
Executive session is still
executive,
going.
well, they can know what it is. Executive session pursuant to MRSA, section 1, chapter 13, section 4056E, which is legal advice on tax foreclosures. Thank you all for coming. Good night.
good night, you guys.
Good night.
Night.